push the button and we're alive.
We're live.
We're live.
Yay!
Yay. So here we are again. Another Sunday ladies' night with Whiskey and Lipstick. And this Sunday, we decided, since we're going into March, and by the time we do our March episode or live stream, it'll be past St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to celebrate a little early, which is fine by me because I can drink Irish whiskey any day of the week and be happy, happy. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 whiskeys pulled out over here. And that's not even all of the Irish in the house. So,
oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
This is definitely a theme that is up your alley, isn't it?
21. Because I got 3 samples. Yes, this is definitely up my alley. So, yeah. I'm Sarra from the Whiskey Crusaders. And
I'm Theresa from Canadian Whiskey Smith.
Yes, indeed. Yes, she is. I see we have a couple of friends in here that tend to hang out with us on these Sunday live streams, which we really appreciate. Steve A, Jonathan, John Kranz, Renita is here. Renita was on last month, and we had a blast hanging out with her and talking about all kinds of whiskeys. Yeah.
Sample party.
Sample party.
Sample party
is always a good party, except for when you have too many samples that you can't really kill very many of them.
No, but I did at least make a dent in some of mine. I'm proud about that. So
I think I emptied like 2 sample bottles that night because like all of our sample bottles have like more than half left in them because we only use a little bit when we're reviewing. And that leaves, a lot of whiskey left in a little sample bottle. And there's Whiskey Crusader Will, also known as my other half. Notice I didn't say better half. I said other half. Just saying. My camera's all jacked up. I think my dog's jacked it up.
Oh. That's all right. It all works.
What you drinking on there, Theresa?
Well, I figured I'd get started. This one's not actually an Irish made whiskey. It's not a whiskey at all, but it's a local distillery here in Calgary. They do a poitín style spirit. And so it's pot distilled, and I actually had to look up because I wanted to double check what the mash was. So it's 58% malted barley, 30% raw barley, and then 12% malted oats.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, so that's the balance. So it's a grain whiskey in the Irish style, triple distilled. It's heavy and floral and fruity and weird. It's kind of like sour grain. And
what's the proof on that?
I feel like it's 42%, so 84.
Okay.
So it's not super high proof, but I mean, for an unaged spirit, it's big. Right. It's a lot. It's quite aromatic for people who haven't maybe tried a lot of new make or unaged spirits.
So I just happen to have an actual Irish poitín from Glendalough.
Represent.
And the dog says hi from over there.
Aww.
And this one's 55%. And I will drink just a little bit of this with you because it's kind of a little higher than I wanted to start with tonight. But since you're starting with a little new make yourself, I'll go ahead and do the same. We got this from the distillery.
Oh,
really? Yeah, husband, can you come take care of that, please? Thank you. We got this from the distillery. They sent it to us because we had them on the Whiskey Crusaders on a live stream, and I loved everything that they had to offer. And the next day, William went to the store of whiskey and bought everything that the store had of whiskey, sent a copy of the receipt to, was it the rep? To the rep. And the rep then sent us this bottle.
Aw.
So I thought that was pretty nice.
That is really nice.
You can't, I don't think you can get this here. I think this is a, distillery only type of thing. So
yeah, it's neat to try. Like it's not moonshines and White Dog or those new make type spirits are not, they're not my favorite for pulling out to sip.
Right.
But it gives you an interesting perspective on where the spirit starts, and can kind of give you a different appreciation for what is happening once it goes into a barrel.
Now, if you were to take this and, put it up against what comes out after the fact, you could definitely, take and get some of the nuances from the new make to the other and vice versa. It's nice to sometimes be able to, sit and compare back to back with a new make, but it's not something I highly recommend doing all the time because new makes are usually pretty high proof before they go into that barrel.
Yes. But yeah.
It is nice to have that because honestly, unless, well, I shouldn't say it unless, until we make our trip to Ireland, we wouldn't have been able to taste any, Irish new make because it's not something that you can readily get.
No, it's definitely one of those things that's harder to come by.
Right. So. Same with Scotch new make. We got the opportunity to taste some Scotch new make when I believe it was Aberfeldy came to Matt's and we did a tasting with them and everything, and that was just beyond amazing. Scotch new make. So yeah, if you get the chance to try some, definitely do it.
I highly recommend, and with the rise of craft distilling across the board, if you get a chance to go to a distillery, especially a smaller one, and try some new make, it can, like I said, it's definitely its own perspective on things. So,
and that's typically where you have to try it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I think it's Buffalo Trace that you can buy their new make out, and I think there's a couple other ones that you can buy, but it's not something that's just out there on the shelf all the time that they're just like, oh yeah, here's every single new make. It's just not how they roll. But
no,
yeah, you get the chance to do it.
Yeah, and it is different from drinking a vodka because it's not as refined. So there's this sort of essence of like with vodka, they are trying to get things as clean as possible. Whereas with a new make spirit, whether it be a Pachin or a White Dog, White Lightning, however you want to call it, there's flavor in there. It's kind of, it's cool. I don't know.
There really is, and I remember tasting a bourbon new make, and then tasting Irish new make. You can definitely tell a difference in the nuances of it. Yeah, and it's kind of cool and kind of crazy at the same time.
Yes,
because,
that's where the hand
there you
thingy works the best, right?
I already finished mine. I'm not gonna pour any more of that because yeah, we're not starting that high of proof really. Yeah. I'm only gonna drink on this one.
I don't know
what. We don't talk about that whiskey. We don't talk about Bruno. I'm only going to drink this one because I know where I can get another bottle and it's almost gone.
What is that one?
This is Bushmills Prohibition. It is a limited edition. It is 92 proof and it is glorious for $32.
Hey, all right. I'm trying to decide. So one of the local reps started bringing in 2 stacks, and they've got the 2 stacks dram in a can. and actually a friend of mine, she bought it thinking that this was like a mini canned cocktail, and put it in her fridge, pulled it out, and went to go and start drinking it.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
she drinks straight whiskey. Like, she doesn't have a problem drinking whiskey.
Right, but when you're
But
drinking
he wasn't
something that's a
expecting.
cocktail,
She thought she was drinking a cocktail.
It's kind of just a, shock to your system when you're
Yeah.
expecting something else.
So they're little 100 ml things. So I'm gonna have to like pour it out into like a sample bottle when I'm done, because I'm not drinking the whole thing.
That's
But there's a regular Irish whiskey, and then there's the Irish whiskey single malt that is also a double barrel. So I
gotta ask, have you had these before? Have you tried them?
No,
Okay.
I've had them for a while, but I haven't actually tried them.
I'm really interested to see your take and see if there is a aluminum feel to it, because they're in cans.
Right.
And I mean, what you said is single malt?
There's one that's a single malt and one that's a traditional Irish. So there's a dark grain, light grain, pot still, double malt, and peated malt in the green one.
So,
and
it might be iffy on the one with grain in it, because the grain often to me in Irish whiskey presents itself as a metallic aluminum type of feel. So I'm really curious on that single malt though.
All right.
It's
got 40% double malt bourbon cask, 50% triple malt aged in Oloroso sherry, and 10% peated malt aged in ex-bourbon. So I don't know, that sounds really weird, and so let's go in for
go for weird.
Oh, I thought maybe there'd be like a hiss or something. There wasn't. It just...
Well, it's not carbonated, silly girl.
Well, no, but I still thought there might be like air release or something. I don't know.
Definitely not the satisfying pop that you get from a bottle.
No, definitely not. I'm like, all right. So that's, nice color. Kind of golden and light.
As Irish whiskey should be.
As it should be, yes.
Unless it's Finnish.
Okay, that peatiness comes through. It's weird.
You want to know what's crazy? I have 9 Teelings over here, including the samples you gave me.
and
yeah.
Okay.
We'll just work our way through those eventually. The 15-year?
Yeah.
15-year. Stout cast. I haven't tried any of these ones that you gave me yet, and I'm curious about that stout cast, very much so.
I don't even have a sample of that left. That was the last. That was the last that I had.
Oh, that's so sweet. It's not something that we have over here, so we haven't been able to try it.
That one was one. It was the first edition that they did of it. They did 2 stout cask ones, and both of those came out before Bacardi got involved with their international distribution. I don't know if they've done any more, because once that came in, we stopped getting some of the more interesting things. So
that's not cool. Like, I mean, I was happy to find the single cast that I have found, but again, that's only been 3 of them, and I do have a backup of, I think, 2 of them, but I didn't ever go get a backup of that 17-year, which I need to see if I can find one.
There's something to be said for it. Like, we're starting to see now that Teeling is really, like, part of the thing with their partnership with Bacardi was to help to drive distribution. And with that, they had to sort of focus the product line, and I get that completely. Now that they've got that built, we are starting to see some of those special single casks hitting the markets. So yeah, it's too bad, but at the same time, like, all right, now we're shifting back again. So
Right.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm just always looking for these older casks in hopes that they're, Coolie juice, because a little bit of a sucker for that. Hello there, Donald, the Irish whiskey Yoda. This night is definitely one for you. I've got, what did I say? I pulled out 21 different whiskeys, Irish whiskeys from the collection, and ready to go. Tear through these.
Yeah.
See if I can do it. Let's see if I can do 21 and not die.
Yes, so Donald is pointing out that the second edition of the stout cask was with Galway Bay. The one that I had was Innocent Gun. I did try them side by side because a friend of mine had the Galway Bay one, and
Batch one.
yes, the Innocent Gun one was better in my opinion. But
Oh yeah,
I was a little bit. Oh yeah, but I was maybe a little bit biased. But
so
they were both good.
I'm getting some of my lower proof things done first, because once I do, Irish whiskey isn't known for having very much for high proof things unless you do grab your cask strength stuff, or I've got this what is this one at? This one's at 92, and my cask strength Irish is obviously the highest proof stuff that I have out of Irish, so we're gonna leave those for a little bit. I'm gonna drink a little bit of Redbreast next, since it is
the only Redbreast I have is a cask strength, so I'll leave that one for now. I'm gonna do my Writer's Tears Double Oak.
What are you coming in here eyeballing there, sir? Yeah, I do have that. Are you coming in here and trying to organize my proofage? What? Hold on.
Organize the proofage. I like that. So maybe we should get everybody sounding off in the comments too. What are y'all drinking?
What are you drinking?
What are you sipping?
Irish, or are you drinking something else? Because Irish isn't your cup of tea, or what's going on? Because Irish is definitely my cup of tea. I've come by it, honestly, with all the Irish that I've tried. I quickly went from a bourbon lover to an Irish lover. And I think it was all that really took was the Green Spot Chateau Montelena was kind of a gateway into that Irish. And then now we have, I think, more Irish than bourbon in the house. So, which is okay. That's fine. Stephen A is drinking his Distillery Reserve still. Did I miss what you were drinking? Oh, Jameson. There it is. Excellent. I do not have any Jameson in front of me. I do have some samples somewhere, but I thought I had enough out. Dig through samples.
I did think about grabbing my Jameson, but I'm like, well,
it's
just regular old Jameson.
We don't have any Jameson in the house that we have bought. We have some samples, like I said, but unless it's an older Jameson, I'm not really a fan anymore, because they do have a very metallic finish for me, and I'm not a fan of that. The grain spirit in there. I like the single malts way more.
There's just more fullness in the single malts for sure. Looks like we got a couple. So Renita and John are both taking a little bit easy tonight. Actually, I got an invite out to a friend's birthday party last night, and we had a lot of fun. But it was hard waking up this morning.
William, we have some of the coffee stuff in the back. What are you talking about? Coffee stuff?
Is that the Jameson cold brew thingy, or?
Oh yeah, the cold brew. Yeah, we have some of that. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think we were gifted that bottle because my sister-in-law had an extra bottle or something, and she gave it to us. I was like, okay, well, just add it to the collection. Put it back there. Somebody will drink it.
Turn it into some Irish cream. I bet you it'd be really good.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Just add it to my coffee. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So I'm pouring little tiny bits into my glass so that I can get through some of these because, again, Irish is my favorite. So if I have a chance to drink all the Irish, I'm going to try and drink all the Irish and still be able to get up in the morning to go to work.
Yes, those are important things.
So I'm going to be a true crusader tonight and kind of fly through some of these to get to the really good stuff at the end.
All right.
She likes your idea. Steve, that's a good point. If you're thinking about having a drink and just never get around to it, then that's probably a good sign that you don't have an addiction.
Yeah.
And to be honest, throughout the week, I very rarely drink. Yeah. I'll drink on Monday nights because live stream. I'll drink when we have these live streams. I'll drink typically about every other Sunday where we're running reviews.
Yeah.
And we'll do batch reviews and I'll drink. But that's really, I don't really reach, I guess my day's so busy and then I'm just so tired. I'm just going to fall asleep if I take a drink sometimes, you know? So
yeah, definitely not the type to do like a daily drinker as much as I can understand people who do. And that's fine. It's just, sometimes by the time it's like, well, I could pour something, but that means like going and actually having to choose. And sometimes the choice paralysis just kind of gets to you. So tonight, like things like this, where we have a theme, that makes it easier
so
because I can just like, okay, I don't have to, I still have choice, but I don't have to.
Right. But you already know
it focuses me a bit.
That you're going to be drinking Irish whiskey. You just have to choose which one you want to drink.
Exactly.
Or you can be like me and drink everything you pulled out. But that's another story. I've moved on to the Redbreast PX.
Okay.
This again is 92 proof, sherry hogshead finish, and it's
I like what you're peer pressuring me into the Redbreast, so
do it. Do it.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, do it.
Do it. All right.
To the dark side.
All right.
Down there.
I should have pulled out more glasses.
Or you can just do what I'm doing and have a towel and get your water intake while you're cleaning your glass. Two birds.
That would mean that I would have to have thought ahead and had water handy.
You don't have water?
No.
Theresa.
I've got something alcoholic to the side as well. So I do have that, but you know.
Theresa.
Yes.
You know.
I know.
You always drink water with your whiskey, especially if you're drinking a lot of whiskey, because that'll just help even things out.
Yes.
I learned that the hard way.
That is true. But we never really go super hardcore on nights like this, except when you're like, oh, and now we're on to our next dram. Okay. So
it's my night. It's my night.
Your night. It's your Irish night.
William says, what kind of Somm are you being? That's hilarious. True. I mean, you're going to have water at your tastings, right?
Oh, of course.
Just
I always
water intake, right?
That's true. I do. I've got chocolate. I'm doing like whiskey and chocolate tonight. That's something.
So food.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Not nutritious food.
Not nutritious food, but well, it's dark cocoa chocolate, so it's sort of with sea salt and salt. Dark chocolate is supposed to have like antioxidants or something, and the salt helps with keeping you hydrated.
I'm a whiskey crusader. I always go hardcore. I mean, come on.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
Look at that. Renita's going to become one of us.
Yes. That is fucking awesome.
That is. So, shit. So I hinted at this last month, and I did tell you and Renita after the fact. I'm going to be back in Texas in April because Psalm 4 has officially been designed and launched, and so I will be
I gotta know
in Texas for level 4.
Did Daniel pass Psalm 4?
I don't know. I'm
you know what I mean?
Assume I know, like
you know what I mean.
He's had to design it, so I'm assuming on some level that counts.
Just saying. I mean,
yeah.
Steve A, yeah, you got to do it, man. You've got to do it.
Yeah.
It's one. I mean, Psalm 1 is for especially you two a lot of knowledge that you already know. You already know it, but the camaraderie, the fact of being with other like-minded people that have just want to learn what they can learn about whiskey, and then the whiskey and all of that, you can't really put a price on that, even though they do, but it's just something that I'll always hold on to forever.
Yeah.
All the Psalm classes. You learn a lot. There are things that I already knew going into the class, and there are things that I learned going in. Yeah. But you can't really put a price on what you get out of it after it with the people that you meet and will continuously meet and grow with going forward.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, with exploring whiskey just in general, it's great to be able to plug into a community and to be a part of something. And yeah, like there's so many, it goes beyond
not just
the
whiskey
and the history. Yeah. That's a big part of it, but
it's marketing and marketing yourself. It's writing skills. There's so much in it that you get out of it that it's totally 100% worth it, in my opinion. If you are any type of whiskey enthusiast or plan to do something in whiskey going forward, or even just want
to articulate things, right? It's just,
yeah, most definitely. I will always hold Psalm 1 very dear to my heart, because before it, I was the reserved person, unless I really knew you or was very drunk. I was the very reserved person, didn't like talking in front of big groups, didn't like, putting myself as the center of attention and being out there around people that I didn't know. Here I am in this class with 20-something people where, yes, I knew Matt, I knew William, and I knew Stephanie. But still, to get up in front of these people and tell a story about something that I kind of had to, an hour or two to write it was not very long. You pulled a piece of paper out of a hat and that's what your topic was. And then you had to get up there and talk for at least 3 minutes in front of all these people that you just met. And that, Josh Galladay was there too, but I don't think I was as close with Josh back then as I am now. Like we've grown in our friendship.
Yeah.
But still, that right there helped put more on me that, I can do this. I can get up and I can talk and I can articulate what I need to say. People that I may not know, or I may know, but still don't like talking in front of whatever. It's gone a long way in my job.
Yeah.
Like I used to keep quiet during meetings, and I'd email after with what I would have said or should have said in the meeting. But now I'm just like, hey, this is what I got. This is what I think. This is how it should go. This, it's really helped me a lot in that aspect of my life.
It's definitely, and the first level especially, is there's so many people who come to the level 1 because they love whiskey and they don't ever have any intention of going beyond that. It's just, and they're coming from all walks of life, all different industries, and very few. Well, not everybody's actually coming to it from a being professional side of whiskey. So it does help with all of those things that you talked about. It's great. I'm looking forward to level 4 because it's going to be intense. The whole process is intimidating, to say the least.
I gotta say goodnight to my
exciting. Sorry?
Oh. I gotta say goodnight to my kid real fast.
Okay. So, alrighty. I'm like living on this, Redbreast 12 cast strength right now because I don't dip into it very often. Never disappoints though.
Sorry, I didn't get to say goodnight to him before we started because it was back to back with the back batch recordings and starting this up.
Right. Oh, now what are you cracking into now? My goodness, woman.
I'm cracking into the Irishman single malts. This pretty little bottle right here. This is 40%. So I'm trying to keep these in the 40% right now. Get it, Weasley?
So that's Welsh whiskey, right? That's the same company as Raiders Tears, I believe. The Irishman.
Yep, Welsh whiskey.
Yeah, they do some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoy this a lot. I'm glad that William came across it, and one of the liquor stores that he frequented when he was with Andalusia out in the middle of nowhere.
They're one of the ones. So for those who maybe aren't as deep into the history on the Irish, I mean, Irish whiskey almost ceased to exist during Prohibition. Unlike the Scots, who really didn't seem to care,
right?
They found a way to make Scotch medicinal,
right?
And amped up. You had distilleries in Scotland that were amping up their production because they knew that when the time comes,
doctors were writing prescriptions.
Yes, there's that.
And when
there
Prohibition
were those
ended.
who were, and they knew that it wasn't going to last.
Mm-mm.
They knew it was going to come to an end sometime, and they needed to have stocks. Well, for the Irish, their single largest export market basically was gone, and they all kind of freaked out and went, "What do we do?"
They had so many distilleries before Prohibition, and now they have what, 2?
Well, yeah. Well, it ended up getting down to you had like 3, and they consolidated everything and said, okay, well, we're going to put all of our eggs in one basket, and that's produce. Yeah. And if they hadn't done that, Irish whiskey probably would have ceased to exist. They consolidated everything down to Middleton, mothballed distilleries. And then it was a slow churn, and it's only just been in the last couple of decades where instead of sourcing, everything's now you've got these small little companies starting up. They're not necessarily sourcing. A lot of them had still been sourcing from Middleton or from some of the other big producers. And yeah, they're doing some exciting things now. And that's where Welsh whiskey is one of those ones. They've been at it now for a little while.
And that
building up a following.
That Riders Tears, no joke. We've had some good Riders Tears. What are you perusing over there going to drink? I don't know. I'm drinking the Irishman right now. Would you like some of that? No. He says no.
Well, what do I have here?
I'm not opening the Dare Gaelic yet. I'm not opening the Glendalough 13 yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to...
Got plenty of tealing to choose from.
One of the newer and perhaps more controversial... I don't know. It's Waterford. I don't know. Are they considered a controversial player. I know they're doing some
William
things
shaking his head, yes.
Yes. Yes.
To him
So
it is.
they are doing some interesting things with exploring the concept of terroir and whiskey. This is Mark Rainier's new venture. I feel like maybe if you're going to do something that you're exploring terroir, I think that's great. But rather than marketing things in these really slick, awesome bottles that cost an arm and a leg for 3-year-old whiskey, they should have done tasting packs of all of the different farms so that you could get all of them and try them. That would have been better. But anyways, it's interesting.
Sorry, there's a child issue going on over there.
Okay.
And, you know, it's all about the procrastination. Procrastination nation. So I'm going to, stick with my 40 proof. And I was a good girl and only pulled 2 of these out. And I have all but 2 of them back there. This is Green Spot, Chateau Montelena. And ironically enough, I don't have the regular Green Spot. And I'm missing that, and I'm missing the Barton. And before I have the whole collection. So, one of the cheapest ones, and then the Barton's not the easiest to find around here sometimes.
For the Green Spot?
Yep. Yeah. When you see it, it's kind of like a you gotta get it type of thing.
Right.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I do have the other spots. I did pull the gold spot out tonight, and it's sitting over there, but it'll be had later. We had Waterford on. Oh, it's been a while, but we had them on Whiskey Crusaders on a live stream, and went through the whole spiel of what they got going on and everything, and they weren't bad per se. Their liquid wasn't bad. I didn't really have a whole lot to spend time with because, of course, we had samples and whatnot. But it wasn't horrible. I enjoyed it to an extent. William really feels like he wants to say something, so he needs to go and type it into his phone in the comments, please.
Well, the thing that I appreciate is that they're actually trying to put some science behind the concept that
the terroir.
Of terroir. And terroir being, for those that I think everybody who's in the chat tonight probably knows, but just in case somebody doesn't, it's the idea that where something is grown, where it comes from, where it's made, that comes through in the finished product. So it's really, it developed as within the wine industry.
It's a lot more with the water too, the water sources.
Yes. Yeah. But the wine industry really, like this whole idea of terroir, that you can taste everything through. They kind of poo-poo the fact that happens with distilled spirits. They're like, no. Once you distill it, it's all the same. It doesn't matter. And I just don't think that's true. I honest to goodness, I believe that what goes in, even if you're distilling it, it's got to have an impact, and where you're aging it and how you're aging it and where that grain comes from, what the water is. That it may be a nuance, but it's there.
There's a lot of other whiskeys that base their whole concept on the terroir.
Yes.
There's a lot of them. And there's a lot that are craft whiskeys too. Which is good. I mean, William's typing. What I hated about their terroir was that they were creating completely different finishes and casking of the blends from each farm. Okay, so what you're saying is effectively they were fucking with the terroir by creating different finishes off the main whiskey. So it wasn't just here's our distillates with all the terroir in just a basic plain cask, and here's the outcome. But then we're going to take that, we're going to put it in something else and finish it and fuck up the terroir.
Yeah. And I think that sounds like that's what Steve is saying too, is that, that they're sort of hiding it because of the casking. My understanding was that with the base farm ones that it was the same casking, but I could be mistaken on that. I thought that there were different finishing ones, but that was.
So he wants to basically taste the finish from one farm versus the finish from another farm without the finish.
Right.
You know, the bourbon casks or without putting it into a finishing cask first. I can understand that. Right. I can get it. But I mean, if you take all that out of it, their whiskey wasn't bad.
No. And I mean, there are differences. I was trying to read quick. But yeah, because I
never get your whiskey.
That they were doing the same casking on them, but maybe not.
Yeah. So you can finish it, but finish it and keep it consistent per from farm to farm.
Well, if you do the same, I mean, there's all the different elements that go into what the terroir is.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, if you can find a way to at least do each of those differently so that you could have a set of, here's 5 different farms, all, the only difference is the barley, right? It's the same water is used, the same basic casking is used.
Kind of like what you have with the Four Roses single barrel. It's just here's this one, but the yeast is different, and then here's this one, but the yeast is different. It's just a different yeast used. Everything else is the same. Type of situation.
And then if you want to explore what is the how is that different from cask to cask, do that as that next step, or do that as a next edition of some sort. So
right. What am I going for next? 46.
I can't wait anymore. I'm doing teeling.
Okay.
I'm going to go for one of your teelings.
Oh, why did he pull that out? All right, so I'm going to start with, I'll do teeling, work my way into the higher proof shit, because I think everything else I have is just moving up. This might be the lowest, one of the lowest. This is the teeling small batch.
Okay. Oh, you're going to go core line.
This is 6 months finished in rum cask.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a couple of teeling core lines here, and I'll drink through those pretty quickly because I'd like to drink the ones that you have, and I have.
I'm going for your 17-year white wine cask finish.
Ooh, that's so good.
I know. It smells really good. I'm like,
Steve, I pulled one out too. I'll get to it. I pulled one out. I think this is the same one that you had pulled out too. River Saltis? Is that how you say it? But I'll get to that. It's 50-something%. So I'll get to it. These teelings, I have the small batch there, and then I also have my single malt here. William, surprisingly enough. That's the one, Steve. I've got the same one. I've got the other two in the closet, but William only grabbed this one out for me. Like I said, I didn't grab out all the Irish. But yes, it is good. For those of you who didn't know, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows that William has a new job working at the Mirage liquor store that we talk about all the fucking time because we love them. Came home with 2 boxes full of alcohol that were sample bottles that they had open, that they just had tons of them. Like, we have multiple of the Teeling the single malt that he came home with. Like, this is here. So almost a full bottle of the single malt that they just didn't need up at the store anymore. And a bunch of other stuff that I don't remember what all it was, but he came home with some pretty good stuff that they just didn't need up there anymore. So here you go. Let's divvy it up amongst the employees. Okay. Twist my arm, take home some free whiskey. Right?
You know what? That's, yeah. I've got a couple of local stores, and the one I go into all the time. I've been doing some side work with them as well occasionally. But Kensington Wine Market, they always have bottles open. So I go in and be like, "Ooh, what do you have? What can I
try?
What can I try? And they're always they're always such great people. Like, I do enjoy shopping there. They actually, the one single cask sample that I have for you, the Armagnac, that was a single cask Teeling that they put out. There are still bottles on the freaking shelf. I cannot believe it. I think it's only because it was a big cask. Like, I'd have to. No, I can't grab it handily here without probably dropping something.
One to me in April.
Mm-hmm. And
we'll pay you.
Oh, it's so good. Good.
I will take any of the Teeling single casks that I can get, even if I already have. I have a 15-year here, but it's not an Armagnac cask. It's the Oloroso cask. So yeah, I'll take the variety. We'll talk about that off screen.
Yes, there's something else actually. I was eyeballing. I'm like, ooh, that's a Sarra bottle. I don't know if I like Sarra enough to buy that bottle, but it's a. They have this one. There is a champagne winery in France, Dumagen, and they have this series that they've been doing with finishing whiskeys from around the world in their champenois casks.
That's interesting.
And yes. And they have a coulis that it's actual coulis. It is stated as coulis, finished in the champenois cask.
Do I even want to know how much that is?
Well, it's like 150 Canadian, so like $20 US. No, not quite.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take 20 of them.
Yeah, no, I'd have. I think it's about 150 for it. So probably in the $100 kind of range, I think, with the exchange. So
I will pay you for that.
I might. I will. We'll talk.
Yeah, I will pay you that. So you went on to the 17-year. I know I gave you the 14 and 15-year.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Why'd you go on and skip the years?
Well, I skipped because one is PX and the other's Oloroso, and I'm a sucker for a wine cask.
Yeah, and that one's really good. I do enjoy
really good.
that one a lot. So I'm torn. I've got. I don't do the stout cask. I guess I'll do this one before, because this one's a little bit lower proof than the others. What?
Yeah. You liked all three?
Oh, he's talking about the Clonelke. Is that how you say it?
Mm. Oh, the Clonakilty?
Clonakilty. I don't know. I'm not Irish. Well, I think I am a little bit, but I'm not going to count that. Ooh, this stout finish smells so good.
I know, right? I don't like beer, and that's the thing. I was so on the fence about even trying that one.
Did it have an age? Did it have an age?
No, I don't have an age. Donald might remember. I don't know if he's still there.
I'm curious as to what went into the stout cask. Like, was it just a regular single malt?
Yes, yeah, it was single malt.
And then if they know how long it stayed in the cask.
You know, if I saved the box and the bottle, but they're somewhere and I'm trapped in my little nook, so I can't jump up and go and check that. But yeah, they were. It was such a unique thing. It brought out like all this chocolate and
yeah, it's so chocolatey.
It was. I'm just like, I don't like beer, but this is so good.
Chocolate covered berries.
Yes.
I'm not a big beer drinker, but when I did, because I went through the phase. Stouts were not my favorite. They were too deep and rich and thick, like too filling.
Right.
So it wasn't something that I readily went for. But if I'm going to be honest, the Jameson Stout was one of my go-to Jamesons with the, core cheaper line.
Yeah. I did, what? I tried that one. And I think maybe because I had that Teeling stout cask, both of them actually were so good that when I tried the Jameson stout cask, I was so underwhelmed by it. I'm like,
it's so different.
I'm like, it was low proof. It didn't have it didn't really bring as much flavor as I was expecting.
William,
I
just...
Oh, you've been
he came running in here. He grabbed a drink of water to rinse his mouth out, came over and kneeled by the table over here and was just like, please. And he pointed to my glass. He said, so good. Like, I took one sip out of that. Seriously. I'm not drinking the whole sample tonight. I'm saving some for later.
All right. Yes, you were very generous with your sample sizes for things here, so I'm good.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That Steve, Jameson, exactly. Steve A, same. Before I got seriously into Irish whiskey, Jameson Stout cask, was what I would go for out of the Jameson line.
Yeah. And I mean, it definitely added something. It's not your run-of-the-mill Jameson. It was definitely a nice little extra. Just with the way I think I had high expectations and I knew the capabilities of I just knew what a stout cask could do. So I think I was like, oh, I was hoping I'd maybe found something that would fill the void of not being able to get more of the Teeling.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
The proof alone.
Like, I know.
Oh, Steve, sorry, before you really got into whiskey at all. No, I was already into whiskey and had tried the regular Jameson and was like, it's got a weird aftertaste. And then they came out with those ones. I wasn't a big fan of the IPA one, but the stout one I could handle.
Yeah.
So I just poured the 14-year because I'm just going to go down the line here. The 14-year is a PX sherry cask strength at 54.3% ABV.
All right. I will pour that one.
This was a Total Wine pick. And if memory serves me right, I have a backup of this. Is that right? William, we have a backup of the 14 and the 15. Well, our 15. Because that's the only 15 we have around here. Yep. I do not like the IPA caskmates. The stout I still like. I actually tried in Dublin before. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's
There's something I've had some IPA type things like the Glenfiddich did an IPA cask that I just was not a fan of. There's
not a
one
fan
of the
of
local
IPA.
distilleries. Like I'm not a beer person, and I feel like from what I've learned about IPAs and the hoppiness and all the blah 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 blah, the hop heads, I'm like, yeah, no, it's hops that I really don't like. That's
the
what
way
gets
we
me.
describe it in our house is it's like you're running through the forest with your mouth open after a fresh rain and you trip and fall and get a fresh mouthful of that forest floor and then you swallow it. It's gross. I don't like it. Anytime we agree, myself accused of it. Sive secretly, William loves it too. The liqueur series we're doing. You're gonna love the ones that they did today. I wasn't part of it because I had this tonight, and I wasn't about to do all those batch. I did review one because there is no way that I'm missing the review of Black Art. But but I wasn't gonna drink all of those during reviews and then try and get through any of these Irish after the fact.
So I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, or maybe it was before. Yeah, no. I earlier in the show I mentioned that I was at a birthday party last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna.
Oh, which one was it?
The original.
Here, I'm gonna make that bigger. 1989.
Yeah, this is the original 19 years aged. The very first Black Arts ever. And that one was brought out at the party last night. So it's the second best Black Arts I've ever had.
That's
first best was 2.1. I had 2.1 a couple of years ago, and that one was insane.
But, we did 4.1. We did 4.1 that'll be coming out.
4.1.
It was it's good.
It's good. It just 4, 5, 6, and 7. I don't know if I've had the 8. But yeah, I the first one I had was the 4, and it was good, but it wasn't as everybody raves about the magic of the Black Arts, right? And I don't know, it just maybe it was expectations, and it just always was like
you were expecting this one thing, you got something else. You can't do that going into whiskeys, though.
I know.
Yeah, unless it's meant to be the same exact thing, and they're trying to be 100% consistent. You just can't go into it being, oh, I expect this to taste like this other one I had.
Well, no, but that was before I'd had any of the Black Arts, right? The very first one I had was a 4.1. That was the first Black Arts I ever had. And I was expecting, I guess, to be, bowled over with just how amazing and gorgeous this thing was going to be. And it was good, but it wasn't, I didn't have a come to Jesus moment with it. And then, say 5, 6, 7, they were good, but they weren't me.
Gotcha.
And then
that's okay.
Like I said, that 2.1, I had it at a friend's place, and holy, like that one knocked my socks off. Oh my, I was like, okay, I found the magic. That Black Arts was like some sort of, it was dark magic for sure all day long. So I'm sorry, Will, but yeah. Ooh, that PX is interesting.
I know. Now I'm interested to see. I'm interested for you to try the Oloroso. Do you have another glass over there?
I will find one somewhere.
I'd like to
Because
know
I do
your.
want a virgin. I need a clean glass on this. I will
I'd like
figure
to
this out.
know your thoughts back to back on the PX versus the Oloroso. I know it's a year difference. One's a 14-year, one's a 15-year, but they still stand out in their respective
Right.
tasks. But there are the people out there that are. I'm strictly a PX person. I'm strictly an Oloroso person. I don't like PX because of this, or I don't like Oloroso because of this. And I used to be like that because Oloroso had some tendencies that didn't really lean towards at the time, like the waxiness, and there's kind of has a funk. Oloroso has a funk, but I've grown to be okay with it. So I'm just kind of curious.
Okay.
Now, why? Go ahead.
I'm generally more of a PX when it comes to my Scotch.
Me too.
Some of those I do
I like the
really. I love that sweetness that you get with it, right? So
while you're getting that one poured, I have 3 15 years here. I have my Oloroso that Teresa's sipping on here too. I have a sample of, is this a Merlot cask?
Yeah.
And then an Armagnac cask. Which one should I go for first? Although I know what the Oloroso tastes like. I've had it.
Yeah.
But still, which one should I go for first?
I mean, if you're planning to do...
Mine is not as high proof as your two.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the Merlot with me, and I do have the Armagnac. If I can
You're drinking on the Oloroso right now, so
I've got both. Yeah, I've got the PX and the Oloroso. So I didn't originally get brown sugar off of the PX. It was kind of hiding a little on me. As soon as I poured the Oloroso, that PX all of a sudden turned brown sugar in the glass.
Popped out.
Yeah. There's an earthy chocolate note in that Oloroso, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe a mushroom.
Yeah, it's something with the funk, like
grass.
I think I prefer the Olo.
Yeah,
I think so. There's something about it.
See, I go back and forth. I think it really just depends on my mood and how my palate is that day. I like them both. And when we first tried them, when we first got them and, opened them, first pour, neck pour, I enjoyed the PX right off the bat. The Oloroso was good, but I leaned toward the PX. And then we tried them again later on, and I kind of leaned toward the Oloroso. And then I go back to the PX, and then it's just been back and forth for me. And I think it all depends on like my mood going into it, which really depends a lot in general for whiskeys for me. Like, am I going to like this? I don't know. How's my mood today? Am I in the mood for this? Am I, situation.
Bye, Renita. Renita's got to sign off.
But... Bye. Thanks for hanging out. Cheers. But then on the other hand of it, it's, how's my palate? What have I eaten today? How's my palate going to, receive this? So it could be a lot of things, but I don't know. Well, I like them both. They both have their distinct differences, and it helps you pick out the difference between a PX and an Oloroso. Do them back to back.
I don't know. It's
rough, huh?
It feels like there's something more going on in that Oloroso than there is in the PX.
It almost seems like it's deeper. richer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, it's got an extra year on the PX. So, you know, who knows what happened in that year time? What was the weather like? You know,
Mm.
what's going on? So, I have the Merlot and the Armagnac, and you do too. Which one do you want to do next?
Mm-hmm. Well, so I feel like I need to go back into the Merlot because I haven't pulled it out in a while. And I am typically a sucker for a wine cask.
I do like the wine cast myself.
So I'm going to.
Okay, I got the Merlot.
Okay. Oh, wait.
And this is at 57.3% ABV.
It's a biggie. Yeah.
15 years.
15 years.
So this was a Calgary co-op pick?
Yeah. This one was, so Calgary Co-op is, I mean, yeah. I found out about this one like 3 days before our stream last year. It's even got like that little bit of a pinkish hue to it.
Yeah, it really does. Very slight, but it's there. I mean,
yeah. It's.
Here comes William.
Hold up the bottle. Like you can kind of see.
Yeah, let me make it bigger.
Sure.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a tint to it.
It's got a little reddishness. So that compared to, well, I don't know. Maybe it's. I'll do them side by side, but I don't know. Yeah, you can tell one is more gold and one is more red. So that's the Merlot. That's the Armagnac. I'm losing my fiddly bits.
Count, guys. I think I'm on my 11th whiskey right now.
I would count my glasses, but I reused a couple.
12, 13. I counted them.
Oh, okay. Good. Somebody's got to be keeping track for you.
And no dump glass, but I'm really literally only pouring. This is a mini Glen. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not really pouring hardly anything in them.
No.
I know I've had at least an ounce of whiskey, but still.
Oh yeah.
I'm on 13. And what did I say? I had 21?
Yeah, 21.
I'm rocking and rolling over here.
All right. We're going into our. All right. So this
I'm good.
Okay. I found this one really subtle. So like I'm not a wine, like as much as I'm not a wine person, I do like my wine finishes typically. And the Merlot,
it comes out a lot in it.
It does. It's,
you know, my dad's not a big Irish, or you know, he's not a big malted barley fan whiskey.
Okay.
But he does like Merlot. And he does like my Chateau Montelena and my Dare Gaelic. So I wonder, which is odd, right? He likes the expensive things. I wonder if he would like this one. There you go, Steve. I've got a Knockrath pulled out over here. I am not sure what the tree is as the box is still closed. That'll probably be my finisher as well. Although William did pull out the Glendalough 17 year. So I don't know. We might. That one's only 46%. So I might need to knock into that one soon. This is good.
It is like it's its own thing. It's got this light berry flavor in it. It's almost got a creaminess to it.
Yep, a little bit of vanilla to it, which is weird for an Irish whiskey. But that Merlot, William, I'm going to say, if you want to try this one, come on in here and get this.
Yeah, it is good, but I'm not going to say anything until after you actually try the Armagnac one. I'm gonna try and hold off on my commentary a bit.
Yeah, and personally, I'm not like hugely familiar with Armagnacs in general.
Me neither.
So I've had a couple of Armagnac finished items, but you know, I don't know what to compare it to as far as just a base Armagnac.
Well, so my understanding, and when it
Just
gets
brandy.
into some of those fruit type things, I'm not as big. I'm not a wine person. I've never studied wine. I don't really understand a lot about some of that.
I
I'm
live with somebody
trying
who
to
has.
learn. I'm trying to learn because of how much those kinds of things are being used now in the whiskey industry. And so to explore port, to explore sherry, to explore wine, all of those things, it's really interesting. Is that the Armagnac?
Yeah, that is fucking fantastic.
Okay, good. It is probably one of my absolute all-time favorite whiskeys. Pardon me. It was my pick of the year. I cannot believe that one still has bottles on the shelf. And the only reason is because it was a really big cask. It's got
Mine.
Just so that you are aware, that's her spending our paychecks face.
So I guess I need to be bringing a bottle of that and a bottle of the Cooley.
Yes. Yes.
Happy birthday.
That's what that means.
His birthday's in April and you're coming in April. So I just bought myself whiskey for his birthday. Hey, you've already bought yourself.
I bought myself a 40-year-old Armagnac.
He bought himself a 40-year-old Armagnac because he's turning 40. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yes. Yeah.
See, and I have a problem with, like you were just talking about, exploring the wines and whatnot. I have a problem with that because red wine gives me headache. So I can't really explore with it because I can't drink it without getting a headache.
I know.
We were just talking about your color.
Ooh.
This is the 17-year. This is the white wine cask.
Oh, that's
the color of it.
See that it doesn't. It's not that red in mine.
It doesn't really come through.
It doesn't have that rosé
in the little sample bottles, and it probably won't come through in my little glass either.
It was good though. I did.
Yeah, no, poured a little too much.
But yes, that Armagnac. So Armagnac and cognac,
brandy.
They're types of brandies. Basically, from my understanding, it's distilled fruits, but distilled fruit juice, right? As opposed to like a grappa, which is the skins or the must, or a schnapps, which is like it. Everybody thinks, oh yeah, peppermint schnapps. No, peppermint schnapps is a fake liqueur. It's not like what we see as schnapps. Real schnapps is distilled whole fruit,
right?
German style apparently. And there's a special still for it. One of our distilleries up north actually has one. It's very cool. But so you sort of have all of these different things. So you have your brandies and there's very specific regions for your cognac versus your Armagnac, but they're at their base a type of a brandy. Yeah.
This white wine finish is really good. This is the first white wine finish anything I think I've had. When we got this one, I don't even think Matt had any white wine finish stuff because he was excited to try it. And oh my God, we had something that Matt didn't have. That doesn't happen very often, folks. So, let us feel good about it.
Yeah.
Although it did happen with a couple of our videos because we did have the lock stock, or is it stock and I don't know. It's a rye that William got for Christmas from his mother that Matt's been eyeballing or something. was, really happy that we got a bottle of it. It's a 18-year-old straight rye, but and then Gold Spot. He didn't have Gold Spot yet, so good things you don't have. Lock, stock, and barrel. There you go. I was thinking Lock, Stock. I was thinking the movie.
Yeah. 2 smoke barrels.
Yeah.
Is it peated?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not. I actually really enjoyed it. We I know this isn't Irish, but we did a review on it not long ago.
Straight rye.
And released it. Yeah. 109 proof.
Yes, Lock, Stock, and 2 Barrels. That was a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
It was a very good movie. I like those. I like Guy Ritchie though. He makes good movies. The Gentleman. I like The Gentleman. That was fun.
That's funny. That makes me think of How I Met Your Mother. Did you ever watch that show? How I Met Your Mother?
Yes, I did.
There was an episode about The Gentleman. William knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure. He's probably out in the garage snickering. That's good stuff. I really like that 17-year. I do have one more tealing that I might take a small sip of here, even though we had a small sip of it the other day. But it's one of their new releases.
Oh, it's so it's a pot still, but which
it's
Chinkapin
oak. Ooh. So this is 100 proof. It's a first edition, and they're ready to come out with the next one. Apparently, if Donald's still around, he'd be able to tell you what kind of oak it's going to be in, because it's going to be different. But it's insane what oak does for whiskeys, because I've never had anything in this type of oak, and it's so good, and it's all nice and fancy.
Oh, that's very fancy. See, the nice thing, and this is one of the things where Irish whiskey and Canadian whiskey have some things in common. Unlike most whiskey producing countries, all it has to be is a wood cask. Now, I mean, there are woods that are not safe,
able to hold liquid.
Well, they're either not able to hold liquid, or poisonous. They are not food safe for humans. And so you do have to be careful about that. But both Ireland and Canada only stipulate that it has to be a wood cask. It just has to be aged in wood.
So much like this. I mean, again, this is the first time I've seen this type of oak.
Chinkapin,
or had it even.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I have no idea what.
So this
I'm reading Will's comments at the same time as trying to talk, and that's just screwing me up. Because he's talking, he's going back into the whole Guy Ritchie thing. So,
what was it? It wasn't it was a Buffalo Trace product, but it wasn't Buffalo Trace.
Right. I feel like I've heard of Chinkapin being used, and I can't remember what the context was. I don't think I ever actually tried it.
This is 50% malted barley, 50% unmalted barley as their mash bill. I don't know if it says, I'm not seeing a year.
Oh, Isle of Rasay does Chinkapin. Is one of their oaks that they are using.
Who?
Isle of Rasay. So they're
Rasay, yes.
Isle of Rasay. They are doing some cool things in Scotch. And they're the ones who they use virgin Chinkapin oak casks as part of their casking thing. Apparently, Glenelg also has a Chinkapin cask that they do. Maybe that's like Mizunura, right? It's one of those, oaks of the week.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to those PX versus Oloroso. The Oloroso has like that almost a charred, wispy smokiness on it, which is weird. It's cool.
This has a very much of a incense to it, like church incense feel to it.
Cool. Like a spicy.
So it's a specific
sort of
like
whites?
Catholic church incense.
Right.
So but it's oaky, but it's not overly oaky. And I think that's how it's presenting its oak, is through that incense feel for me.
Interesting. So it's going to keep away the bad spirits.
I was raised Catholic.
I went to Catholic school at one point, so yeah.
I did too. First 3 years I was at a Catholic school. Is probably why I don't really go to church anymore. Yeah, that's a whole nother video.
I'm a spiritualist. I drink whiskey.
Yes. Spirits. It was Old Charter.
Old Charter?
Okay. It's a Buffalo Trace product. I don't remember it. He says it was an early on video, which is probably why I don't remember it, because we have drank a lot of whiskey from in the past 4 years of doing the channel. We celebrated 4 years last Monday of being a channel. Yeah. So cheers to that.
Cheers. Yes.
I don't know if Donald's still in the chat. I was able to tag him, but I don't know if he might be on a way home from work or at work. I'm not sure. But if he gets back, I know he mentioned it last week, what the next wood type, barrel type was going to be for the next tealing release.
Okay. See, I'm feeling left out, because normally we get, like, prior to the Bacardi deal, we got all of the really cool tealings in Alberta. Like, we would get the Brabazons, and we got the stout casks. Since Bacardi came into the picture, we get the basics, and then we get the store releases. So I mean, those store releases have been really good. Like that Armagnac one, like I said, it's just insane how good that whiskey is. The Merlot is nice. It's just it's not as good as the Armagnac.
Yeah. I'm gonna drink a tiny little bit of this because it's almost done.
What is
this?
This
is Glendalough. I'm wearing their shirt.
Yes.
But this is, you had mentioned, different casks and whatnot. This is Madeira.
I love Madeira casks. Typically, actually, I bought a small taste. It was an impulse buy at Christmas. I was at the checkout. Oh, Scott's on the bayou. Hey,
huh?
Scott, Leanne. Hi.
Hey, Leanne.
I met Leanne in person.
Yes,
Did I tell you this?
Saw.
Yes.
No, I saw.
Oh, you saw? Yes,
I've met Leanne in person too, a couple times now, and she is awesome.
She's such good people. Oh my
She
goodness.
really is.
We need to have her back.
She's just got this energy about her, and it's just a strong ass positive. Everything is okay, and be happy energy about her, and I love it all the time. I love it, and we're gonna have to have you on again soon.
Yes, you need to.
Thank you
agree
for
to
the
be on the show
for the Crusaders.
Yes.
So this one, this one's Madeira. I really do like Madeira. I haven't had a whole lot of Madeira, but I know I have had a Balcones Madeira and a couple other ones, but I really like this Irish finished in Madeira. I went for it next because it's 42%, and what I was looking for is 46. So,
okay. Yes, I
Yes, she does.
So I was at the checkout counter right before Christmas. I was buying myself whiskey because, Merry Christmas to me from Santa. And there was a tasting pack of Madeira. So I bought the tasting pack because I'm like
Why not?
I said, I'm not a big wine drinker, so it was nice to be able. I'm like, okay, I have to do this, and this is going to be like homework because my all-time favorite, Aaron. Oh no, that's Aaron Amarone. That's Amarone, not Madeira. Maybe it was Amarone's that I bought. Crap, I might be screwing up. Anyways, I do like Madeira casks as well. I've had a few different ones now, and they have been delightful.
Yeah, I really like this. It's got a certain fruitiness to it that is different, and especially on the Irish front, because me as the Irish lover that I am tends to lean towards the more expensive Irish and the old coolie juice and that tropical fruity, coconut papaya,
ex-bourbon cask,
all of that in my Irish whiskey. And the Madeira is like the other side of the fruit basket to me, and it just brings out a whole different feel when it's used in an Irish whiskey. I specify Irish because Irish to me is the fruitier of the whiskeys, unless you get into the finished scotches and such.
It does. I think there's that triple distillation really zeroes in on that side of things. I've got a Kilchoman, and this is where I will lose you completely, but I do have a Kilchoman Madeira that was a single cask for Alberta, and so good. I know you can't really appreciate the finer things of peated whiskeys.
That's okay.
But
I've come a long way. I don't like Isla peat, but I've come a long way because I do like Irish peat, and I can handle like Highland Park, like a Highland peat, more than I could earlier on. So.
Oh, geez. So, funny story about Highland Pete. So, last weekend I did, because I'm studying for Somm level 4, and by studying I mean like drinking whiskey.
Only one way to study when you're a Somm.
I know it's it's a tough life, right? But I did a tasting last weekend with some friends. And when I called it a wild card tasting, and everybody got like these little, I made up little like mini playing cards. And one of the cards was for the person to come down and pick off of my collection any whiskey of their choice, pour it blind, and everybody would try it without knowing what it was.
So the person that picked the whiskey poured it for everybody else.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so they picked a whiskey off of my shelf, and I was like, ooh, this, I'm tasting, I'm smelling. I'm like, I was pretty sure it was an Ardbeg. And then one of the gals who was there, she's like, yeah, I'm getting like something kind of like more of a floral note in here, which is atypically you get heather. That heather from your Highland Park or your Highland peats. And it was kind of throwing me. I'm like, yeah, but I swear this is an Ardbeg. It was Compass Box No Name number 1. Which is like 75.5% Ardbeg with like 3 other things thrown in. And part of it is a Highland. I think it's not Oban. Maybe it is Oban. Oh, goodness. You got cats. Hey, kitty.
Just the one. It's tonks.
Just the one. Oh, he tonks. Yeah. So I was like, it was actually kind of cool, because then going back into it, it's like, yeah, there is that something floral that's coming out of the the Highlands as opposed to that Isla. It's so different. But anyways, we've been going for an hour and a half. I'm going back down into some of the lower proof. My writer's tears redhead.
William, if you want some of this 13-year Mizunara cast, you better get your ass in here. Just hey, Irene. I do have one. I haven't gotten to it yet. I did.
Yes, we were talking. Steve A. Steve A. was drinking your Clonakilty.
Steve A. was drinking the same one that I have here.
Yes, he was talking about Irene's Clonakilty, and I wasn't going to dignify his comment with acknowledgement because I'm still jealous because I haven't.
I'm making my way there, Irene. I'm almost there. You missed the first part. Sarah's got 21 Irish whiskeys pulled out over here in front of her. And her goal is I'm trying so hard to get through all of them. Just a tiny little taste of each because Irish is my favorite. I pulled out the same one that Steve has just by chance because I told William to go back and pull out one of them. And I'm guessing this is the first one that he found back in the closet. So I will get to that here after my Glendalough.
See, I need to go and actually buy some Glendalough because I'm pretty sure I've at least tried some, and there's something about that whole statue thing. There's
a whole story about it.
Is there?
Yeah. If you actually go back and watch the Whiskey Crusaders live stream with them, they go over the meaning of the statue and everything. And it's really cool. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm at 16. 16. Shh. Yeah, he said, yep, I didn't even turn on the neck. I just grabbed until I found the neck shape. Yeah, and Irene's going to have another pick from them coming out soon.
I think I just saw something on Instagram about that, actually.
Probably did.
Because Irene is always doing the most awesome of
amazing picks.
She does. If y'all aren't following Whiskey Mentors, you totally need to. Yeah.
Do it. Irene, I did purchase your Lone Elm pick, but I was not able to get over there Saturday to pick it up. So I'll be able to get over there hopefully soon to pick it up and get that Lone Elm pick in my happy little hands and around my mouth hole very soon. Because one, I love Lone Elm. I love what they're doing over there with the wheat. I purchased it online, Irene. So they should have a bottle at the distillery for me.
15-year.
Yes. Yes, her next release.
Yeah. I don't know if you can make me bigger. That's the most recent post from Whiskey Mentors. And what it says is, I think we might be Clonakilty fans. We have bought 6 single barrels from them in the last 14 months. The 6th one has yet to show up, but you'll have 4 to choose from next Saturday, March 4th. Stop me to meet one of the founders of the distilleries and get your bottles signed. So, yeah, if you are anywhere near Connecticut, get to Irene's shop next Saturday because that looks epic.
I'll make it back to my home state just to see Irene and the handful of friends I still have there. But, Irene. It's a completely different area of Connecticut. But Connecticut's not big when you compare it to living in Texas. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there is
you can fit Connecticut inside Texas and you still have Texas left over on all sides.
I think you can fit like 10 of Connecticut into Texas, can't you?
Probably the lower half, yeah. Man, so I don't
Mhm.
know if you guys saw, but I was just drinking on the Glendalough.
Mhm.
I don't know how you say it. 13-year. This is a Mizunara cask finish. They don't make this anymore. So this is a very cherished bottle to me because it is beyond crazy, stupid good. And so he only comes out on special occasions. And sitting here drinking Irish whiskey with you is a special occasion.
Aw, thanks.
Connecticut isn't big compared to living in Minnesota. I've lived in Connecticut for 9 years of my life. And the amount of times that we drove to Massachusetts and New York to see family, which lived in both on different occasions, versus driving down to see family in San Antonio from where I am here is an insane difference. Like, you could drive to Massachusetts in an hour and get where I needed to go, and we could drive to New York in about 3, and you still would be in San Antonio from here.
Yeah,
According to Google, you can fit 50 Connecticut's into Texas. Oh my gosh.
I'm going back in. I'm going for a second pour of my Writer's Tears Redhead because when I first really started getting diving deep into whiskey, Writer's Tears was one of the first bottles that I bought of really nice whiskey for myself, and I've got it down to the bottom little bit here. It's only taken like 5 years, but damn, I don't go into this one very often, but it is so good.
I don't go into this one very often either. This is the Glendalough 17-year.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it really is. This is 46%. This is another one of those bottles that doesn't come out very often. It is all kinds of fancy pants in there. This is one of the ones that William ended up coming home with that magical day after we had the Glendalough Lights live stream. This is first aged in American oak ex-Bergen cask and then aged in a rare Japanese Mizunara cask. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I may need to do some more Irish. Oh, so
when you're here in April,
yes,
we'll delve more into the Irish.
We'll do more Irish. Okay, we'll do more Irish.
We'll drink whatever you want to drink. Really.
Well,
I'll just go into the office and have at it. We spent $800 on 7 different whiskeys that day.
That sounds like a good day.
It was a magical fucking day, and I'm really sad that I was working, so I couldn't go to the liquor store with him. But on the other hand, I'm glad that I didn't, because there might have been more than $800 spent.
Oh,
just
dear.
saying.
Yes,
it was for me. Yeah, it was all for me. Like, I'm the one that said, okay, go on over to Mirage and see what they got. Get what they have. Please. Thank you. I don't want to see you until you have it all.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah,
dear.
and they don't make that 13-year anymore, so it's quite the bummer.
So, it's kind of interesting though, and I feel a little bit bad. So we alluded earlier to some of the history with Irish whiskey, and that it basically all disappeared. And one of the things that they did was that they consolidated basically all Irish production to Middleton post depression, sort of prohibition.
Yeah.
But and we've talked about Middletons. We did some, we talked about Jamesons. We both were drinking some Redbreast. You got the Spots. Neither of us have pulled out any Bushmills. And I feel a little bit bad because I feel like I should own. Oh, okay. It's there. So we just haven't got to it yet.
No,
I don't actually, I don't. I have
the first whiskey I drank.
Oh, right. That was your very first one was Bushmills. So Bushmills is the oldest licensed distillery in the world. They have been around for more than 400 freaking years.
Dang.
That is insane
It's
to
really
think about.
And they put out some really good fucking shit. I mean,
they do.
This really right here is a 92 proof. Yes, it's a special edition. It's a limited edition, whatever. You probably can't find it anyway. Don't look. Prohibition recipe, $32. And this is so freaking good. Yeah.
My friend Elsa, my friend Elsa, one of the first whiskeys that she ever had that just really, oh, hey, Donner. One of the first whiskeys that she fell in love with was Bushmills. And it's her birthday this coming week. And it was her and another friend. They were doing the whiskey birthday party last night. And so
that's a good birthday party.
It was
I think I'm going to have my next birthday at Matt's house.
Yes, that's how you do it, right? But yeah, our buddy Kent, it was his 60th, so we were there drinking all of his phenomenal whiskeys, and everybody brings phenomenal whiskey to share and everything. But
it's the best
Bushmills they had a new a special edition 10-year. And so I bought that for her birthday. It was a cognac cask. And we actually had a chance to try it when we were Leanne was there too, out in Victoria last month in January. And it was, I don't really remember it because we'd already been drinking at the festival. How it goes, right? You know, it's we've all been to whiskey festivals, right? You go in with a plan and you just enjoy and you hope you remember. Powers. I do enjoy some good Powers.
John's Lane.
Yeah. I bought the Powers Gold label just because it was on sale the one time, and damn, that was good whiskey.
Get the John's Lane if you haven't.
Yeah, I'll have to maybe look for it. But yeah, that Bushmills cognac cask. Picked that one up for her as a birthday pour, and so she was cradling that bottle like it was a newborn baby. and really, you know, I need to get some Bushmills on my shelf because they've been around for a while. They know what they're doing.
They're good stuff.
They make good whiskey.
I mean, even their base bargain bottom shelf whiskey is a great daily drinker. You know,
it is.
I haven't met a Bushmills that I haven't liked.
I guess it's because I haven't had that, you know, mind-blowing experience. Like I had like Teeling. When it comes to Irish, Teeling's my love. You know, they're my
Teeling, but then really Middleton in general.
Middleton,
yeah. Didn't I give you a sample of the Dare Gaelics? Did I give you a sample of the Dare Gaelics, or did we just drink them?
We just drank them.
You
sent you sent some, and they were for Donald.
I wonder if Donald's gotten to them yet. I don't think he's on anymore.
I don't know. But
Donald, go. Not cool, dude. So, if my count is correct, including this whiskey in my glass, I've got 3 left.
Okay.
So, I've got this. This is the Powers.
So, what you're saying is that to keep
4 left.
pace
Sorry.
with you, See, so I thought I was being responsible and pulled like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I pulled 8. I left 3 of my bottles, 9, because I also had my not an Irish but Irish style poutine, which is where I started. I've got the Teeling's pot still, which is part of the core line now. I've got my standard Jameson's, and then I've got a Black Adder, which is independent bottled
Power
Irish.
so good.
It is so good. I used it to make Irish cream by Powers Gold Label.
Yeah.
Made the best Irish cream like ever.
Oh,
Oh
really?
my goodness. Oh yeah, it was
I haven't
by far my best recipe I think I've ever made. I still have. I kept the fiddly bits.
Nice.
Yep.
Mine didn't come with a fiddly bit.
The Powers Gold Label one that I bought did, and you know
I
what? For
I've never
a
made
$40
Irish cream.
bottle, it was so good.
I might need to
You've
try
never-
that.
I have a recipe.
Give it to me. Yeah, William says she wanted me to pull out more of the spots. I'm good. Good. So
We're going on like we're 10 minutes away from hour number 2. So
yep, and I'm gonna get all 3 of these in that 10 minutes.
all right, and then we're good. Okay. I'm looking at what I need to revisit because I as much as I know I love certain things.
What's for you, Irene?
Ah.
So at 57.7%, Theresa, Theresa, when you're here in April, try and remind me, and I'll pull all 3 of these out of the closet.
Okay.
Whenever her next one comes out, it's a 15-year. Whenever that one comes out, I will be contacting Cliff, and I will be sending him money to purchase one so that he can mule it down to me the next time that he comes to Texas. And Irene, I will enjoy it because I already have enjoyed it. There's not a lot gone from this bottle. We kind of these special picks. We kind of put them back in the closet, kind of try and forget about them because we'll never be able to get them again, and just pull them out for special things or things like this where we want to push specific brands or whatnot or people in this instance, specific people.
That's right. Because Irene is coming. I mentioned Psalm 4. So I believe Irene is coming for Psalm 4.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind that she's going to be there for Psalm 4.
Well, she's saying she's gonna bring samples in April. So that just tells me she's going to be here for Psalm 4. I feel like we need to, you and I had talked about seeing if Emma could get together with us in April for a live stream. I'm wondering if we should get all the girls together in a single room and do our April live stream with
early.
I don't know if Irene can make it work to meet up with us. I haven't even reached out to Emma to see if she could. But suicide mission for Psalm 4.
So good.
I feel like we should try and do like a mega stream and I feel like it should be like a specialty blending thing. Like maybe there will be 4 of us. We each have a bottle of our choice, and then we will play around with creating a monster blend that will be just us having fun.
Irene, are you going straight down to Austin, or are you going to make any trips into the DFW area? I am so kicking myself that I missed you when you were here a couple weeks ago because, well, yeah, anytime's a good time to meet up with Irene, but I was sick. The boy was getting over sickness, and I just didn't want to bring that out into the world. So I still have a sample over my counter for you of the gold spot, and it's going to sit there for you because if you haven't had it already, which you had it at the time that I poured it, you gotta have it. I mean, why not, right? I don't think we had it did we have it when you were here, Theresa?
Which?
The gold spot?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did. You had just got it. I don't know if I'm trying to think if we opened it or if you.
Oh, see, I would have opened it the day that I got it, so it's probably opened, but I don't remember if we poured it.
I can't remember. I think we did. I think you shared it because you
that whole weekend
basically
was
just had it.
Very big.
That was the corgi weekend.
It was corgi weekend. I got the corgis, and then we went to a tasting for Highland Park over at Brian's house with Matt and the Crusaders that same night. And then you came in later that night, like around midnight or so, midnight 30, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And then we stayed up.
Then
we went over to Matt's house
to see
at
Joe.
Like 1 o'clock to see Joe.
Know, right?
And you tried the Woodford single malt, which I didn't
hate.
I still don't understand.
No, it wasn't single malt. It's not their single malt. It's just malt.
Oh, they're malt. It's just malt. Woodford malt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the Highland Park barbecue night.
Yes.
There were so
only
many
you
things.
could have gotten in a couple hours earlier.
I know, right? That was you guys, you were so awesome. And
yes, we did send you home with one of those.
You sent me home with one of these. It's for those who, it's
a barrel stave.
Into a barrel stave.
And it's got Highland Park on it. It came with, I don't have any of the glasses.
The little mini, yes, they're underneath somewhere.
Yeah, William.
That was such an epic night.
Yeah, that was a fun night. It was a long night. I don't even remember what time we got back home and went to sleep night.
Like 3 a.m. Because time change. It was fall back. So we did like.
We had an extra hour, guys.
We did.
So we utilized it.
I think we were back at your place at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was the second 3 o'clock.
And my wonderful husband stayed at home with a sleeping child. No, the child wasn't there.
No, the child
with
the puppies. He was there with the puppies.
So that I could take Theresa over to Matt's house and we could get little drinks into us. I didn't mean to pour that much. William, if you want some Gold Spot, come on and get some before I put it back away. It was really 4. Yeah. that was a late night. So, and then the next day we went out and we went shopping and stuff after we had our sleep in. And because we needed our sleep in. And then we drank that night. And then the next day you left, right? When how it went. So we drank that night and I just pulled out, a bunch of random stuff that I know they don't have in Canada. And here he comes. He's finally coming in. So I'm going to be pouring the Gold Spot. This is aged 9 year. This is 135th anniversary.
That's what you're going out on?
No, I got one more. Limited edition. This is 51. Huh?
You got 4 minutes.
You want to see me chug this bitch?
No, that's okay.
I don't tend.
Because we're so strict with our times, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I have my going out over here. My Middleton Dare Gaelic. Ooh, what was that noise?
That Teeling white wine. Holy smokes, that is good whiskey.
What?
Damn.
Isn't it freaking good?
It is good. I had to go back into it. It's out of the 3 Teelings that you gave me, it's the lowest in the bottle.
I still have some in the 3 you gave me.
Yes.
It's about the same on all of them. I really tried to taper it so that I could go back to them on a fresh palate.
Well, and that's also you're sharing with,
Fuck
you have to share.
Do I have to share? You gave them to me.
No, I didn't. You don't have to share.
He's actually sitting right over there shaking his head. No, I don't have to share. So there's that. But this Gold Spot, this was our Irish whiskey of the year last year. And for good fucking reason. What they did with this whiskey is just insane compared to some of the other spots that they've released. It's got so much more going on in that glass. It's got Lamb's not a fan of the blue spot. I've come around more on it as it's opened up. But when you think of the spots outside of the green, because the green, yes, is the base, right? So you always have to have start somewhere. You always have to have a base whiskey, bottom shelf, $60, whatever. And then you're supposed to grow from there, right? So you grow, you got the wine finish, green spots, you got your yellow, your red, and then you got your blue. And it's almost like a slap in the face. You're like, whoa, I came from red and yellow and you give me this?
Well,
What am
because
I supposed to
wasn't
do with
blue like
this?
a travel exclusive at one point? Like blue used to only be
Blue was their
it was
it their foolproof? 1, 2, 5, 9 year. Okay. I'm on Whiskey 20, and he's over there holding up fingers for me to count. Okay, so let me just tell you. Nope, I'm not drunk. I'm just not in the counting of fingers mood. Thank you. 21 or 20 whiskeys, almost 21. But no, it was a 9-year cast strength. But it was just kind of blah.
Yeah.
You're wrong, Steve. Well, I don't know. Steve's saying 7-year. William's drunk. Steve hasn't found blue spot on the shelf there ever.
I know I've seen it, but I don't remember where or when, and I feel like I've tried it, but
we've just seen the one and we have it. But
yeah,
Steve, unless you're a Pokemon fan, you got to collect the whole set. You're not really missing a whole lot. I mean, it's opened up some as we've gone along, and it's sat back there and opened up itself. But it's really kind of disappointing when you get back to the other spots, and then they go and fucking come out with this gold spot after it. The blue spot is it's almost like a background whiskey, really.
Which for the price and such,
the desire of it,
they made such a big deal about it, right? Like I think that was maybe part of the whole thing, is that they hadn't used the blue spot for forever,
right?
And so when they finally did, there was all this hype around it. So what it's saying on the spots,
down.
Yeah, so it is saying 7 years bourbon, sherry, and Portuguese Madeira cask, all bottled at cask strength.
And see, when you think about like a Madeira cask, I just drank a Madeira cask a little bit ago, and it had this fruitiness to it that is comes out so strong in the whiskey. It just wasn't the same with the blue spot. And I don't think we pulled the blue spot out when you were here, Theresa.
But I don't think so, no.
I'll try and remember to, oh my God. I pulled out the Middleton Dare Gaelic. But I'll try and remember to pull that out.
There's a phantom hand from off screen.
Please, Nick, can I have some more?
Will. Yes, yes.
But I will try and remember to pull that out for you when you come in April, so that you can
sounds good.
See what we're talking about. That's all you get. Now go.
There's always more later. There's the after dram. We can do an after dram.
Have 2 bottles of this particular one, right? You pulled the one that had the backup.
Okay.
So this is 2021. Middleton Dare Gaelic, Knockrath Forest. This happens to be tree number 6 at 56.6%. Man, talk about back to where Ireland and the Irish whiskey can use wood. They have to use wood. It has to go in wood. Doesn't matter what kind of wood. Well, they have these special forests that were grown specifically for batches of whiskey. Like, this is Knockrath Forest. This is all.
That also goes into the whole terroir thing, isn't it? Like that's kind of the exciting side of some things, because it's not just the spirit, but this is like the wood of Ireland, and
Right.
they're so different from tree
These are
to tree.
specific to Ireland forests. Like, you're not going to grow, this type of forest over here in Texas. And, it's different. So they pick out specific trees and, tree 1 through X amount, however many they are thinking they're going to need. I think there was 8. I know there was 8 this last year. I think there was 8 this year, this Knockrath Forest. But they pick out these specific trees, they mark them, this is what we're going to use, and each cask is going to be a specific tree. And, if you're like some spots collectors, you want to try and collect them all, but you just, unless you're traveling or you have people in different states, you're not going to get them all. But they are so different. Even, they're the same type of wood, same locations, all of that, but they are so different from tree to tree that you really do want to try them all. I think we have samples of other trees, two or three different samples, 4 samples, and then we have 2 trees of Knockrath Forest ourselves. So one of these days, whenever we find time on the Whiskey Crusaders side of things,
of course, yes,
we're gonna do the forest, whatever. But these are sought after, very limited release type of whiskeys.
It was very cool. You brought out, I think you brought out 3 of them that we tried at your place back in the fall, and it was a really cool experience. It's definitely, as whiskey geeks, it's nice to see things that are made for people to try and see the differences, right? Yep. Steve is saying that, right?
Exactly.
That
it could be the same exact whiskey going into the same exact type of wood, but this tree versus this tree versus this tree could produce completely different, and does produce completely different flavors in the whiskey. It's really insane to think about it. Yeah, when you were here, we have, like I said, we have Knockrath Forest, we have 2 different trees. And then we have last year, so 2022, what was the name of that one? I'm drawing a blank. I didn't pull it out. But we have one of the trees from 2022 as well. Tree 1. No? Just one? Oh, yeah, the price went up. Of course the price went up. Why wouldn't the price go up? Our price went up on everything. But I'm just happy I got what I got for honestly, because they really are exceptional whiskeys for what they are. I did send Donald a couple of samples of those because he has a completely different tree himself. So to be able to take, something that we got here versus something he got there in Canada, completely different tree, and be able to take and, bounce them off of each other and back to back them. Everybody wants to do that if you're a whiskey enthusiast, and
it's one of those things.
Differences.
You know what? You kind of take it for granted that if you follow a recipe, like if you bake or you cook or you do any of those kinds of things, right? You follow a recipe, you feel like if you do A and B and C in the right order, then you can expect to get
the same results.
Exactly.
Every time.
And the fact is that you can't. And I remember, actually, it was something early on the Whiskey Vault channel. I remember something about Daniel talking about how Dewar's, I think it was Dewar's, dials in their flavor profile from like 40 or 50 different casks. And the more I thought about it, and the more I've thought about it over the years, the more I think it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're making swamp water. I don't, maybe that's just a local thing for us. We would call it swamp water when you would mix different pops together. So you would get your different sodas.
We called it a suicide.
Okay. So we would call it swamp water. You make swamp water, and basically the only thing that was consistent with swamp water is you had to have orange crush in it. But basically, if you were mixing orange crush and Coca-Cola and a root beer, or Sprite, like you could do all of the different things, and basically you were making swamp water in your glass, and it would always kind of come out tasting the same, and it didn't really matter what all went into it. You could mix and you could blend all of your different soda pops together.
See, we were meant to work with whiskey in some way or another because we've been blending since we were kids. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
It was meant to be, right? But like, I feel like there's that thing that starts to happen. If you get enough of something, you can create this homogeneous kind of thing where you're not really dialing in the flavor profile. It's like, well, yeah, if we take enough of these different things, we're going to like hit within a ballpark.
Yep.
And it's really, yeah, exactly, right? Like the real art of creating something, which is why
was this thing surge.
Yeah, which is why like so many of the blended whiskeys, the blended scotches, all start to taste the same. Whether it's Bell's, Ballantyne's, Dewar's,
right,
JW, like even the Walkers, right? Like,
right.
It's less about dialing it in as it is about if we get enough things, it's gonna taste the same. Where you really start to see that nuance is when you are only doing small batches, where you're working with very specific things, and you can a little of this and a little of that, and that's where the alchemy and the magic comes from.
I agree.
That's my rant for the night.
I 100% agree. And I mean, like I said, we've been doing this since we were kids. I mean, we were made for this, right? Our thing was Surge. That was the Mountain Dew of our time.
Surge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else remembers Surge in the US.
I don't think we ever had that.
Yeah, they don't make it anymore. I don't think they can. It was worse than Mountain Dew as far as like caffeine,
I love that.
Crack levels.
Oh, Lord.
So yeah, we're 10 past 10. We've been on for over 2 hours. I am 1 whiskey 21.
Oh yeah, you made it. You made it.
And I'm actually feeling really good. Of course,
okay.
I've had 2.5 of these, which these are what, 12 ounces. So I've had,
it helps.
a lot of Surges apparently back as of last year. What? How is that legal? That shit was like liquid crack. So
all right.
Drinking water while you're drinking whiskey pays off, folks.
It does. It's important. All right. I'm going into my Armagnac Teeling.
Excellent.
As my final pour, I think, for tonight.
Yep. I still have a little bit of my Knockrath here. This is what I'm going to go off at with. So in the chat, Steve has so graciously dropped some links for us. We've got our Whiskey Crusaders link. Follow us on YouTube. We do live stream on Monday nights, and we drop 2 whiskey reviews through the week on Tuesday and Thursday, and we do a liqueur on Saturday. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck we are doing tomorrow, as Matt hasn't let us know yet. We'll find out tomorrow, probably about 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier. And we go on at 9:30. Then you have, for, again, with the Whiskey Crusaders, we finally have a Patreon, folks. we finally have a fucking Patreon.
Woo!
So if you feel so inclined to support the Whiskey Crusaders more than you already do by following us and watching us and coming and, joining in the shit show that it is, check out the Patreon, join. You'll get some backstage access to some things that ain't nobody else ever going to see. So there's that. And then you can find Theresa over on Instagram, Canadian Whiskey Smith. She's also on Facebook too.
I am.
You can search there, but she does post a lot more on Instagram than she does on Facebook. So
That's because Instagram is always so sketchy with, I have to remember to click it off to post it on Facebook as well. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. So yes, Instagram's just the easier one. But if you aren't on Insta, I am on Facebook. So
there you go. So we will be back next month, end of March. Don't know what we're doing yet, but we'll be here.
I feel like that needs to be like a Stump the Psalm night.
Oh, I before Teresa's Psalm 4 class and see if I don't know how we can do that.
I don't know.
How can we do that with you in Canada and I'm here?
I don't know. We'll figure something out, but March.
And that will be, where is it? Where's the damn?
I think it might even be like the 26th. Because
that will be March 26th, yeah.
Yeah. Same bat time, same bat channel.
We'll be here drinking something and talking about something, doing something. But hopefully we'll see you here and come hang out with us. So, all right. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. And we will see you next month unless we see you on the interwebs out there.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.